Last week I got my first shipment in from Temu, and I had never ordered there before. Ever, ever. So I got some art supplies to try out, and it was these 2 ounce, 30 milliliter little tubes of paint. I'm just noticing they have numbers on them right there for the color. Yeah, black is 1, white is 2. But anyway, I got 3 primaries and then a black and a white. So I'm going to try some of these out and just see how they react. So this is the photo reference that I'm using. It's from the Food Paint Challenge on Instagram. Got all my palette knives. I don't think I'm going to need this many, obviously. So what I'd like to try out is this small one. These paintbrushes, I will just get a nice little, maybe I'll trade that one out for this one. There we go. I'll use that 3. So this is the 2, the 8, and the 12. And that is the... And then these, I don't think I'll be testing these this time. I don't... This just isn't the type of work that these are designed for. So we'll try those at another time. So let's start with mixing some colors here. Oh, these were sealed. Yeah, if you give me just a second and I'll unseal all these and get the paint out. Okay, right off the bat, I'm seeing some issues. This is supposed to be a cobalt blue, and it's almost more like a periwinkle. I don't know if you can... It's not, it doesn't have a lot of pigment to it, which isn't a total surprise, but I had hopes. And then this red has kind of an orangey tint to it. I don't know. I'm going to make these work though. And then this is a lemon yellow. Since the others don't have much pigment, I'm imagining this is going to be the same. And then I've got my black and white. And I have no idea how thin or thick these are to mix together. They came out of the tube feeling a little like Liquitex Basics, but without as much pigment. So let's do some mixing here. And this is the reference photo I'm going to be using. So I put it here so that you could see the colors as they're mixed in comparison to what we're working with. Yeah, it's pretty thin. First off, we're going to need some orangey. I'm just trying out this palette knife. It's nice and stiff. Sorry if there were sound issues with that. I didn't realize I had set my microphone down there. This is kind of a... So it's pretty thin. And you see that'll work for some of the areas. And then if I take some of that and just let's mix some yellow with it. You can see how close that is. That's awful close. Then our whites on here, our lights, are not white. They have sort of a yellowish cast to them. So let me see here, compare those two. And then let's see what we get. Looks like a nice cool black. Again, it's still really thin. It doesn't have a lot of body to it. The paint doesn't. And I don't know how this is going to cover, but this will work well for the shadows under here. And I'll add a little yellow to the... I don't know that I want the background black on mine, so we'll see. I'm going to start with this small brush. I mix a little blue with that, it'll give me a brown. But I don't want it too light or too dark brown because of this mid-tone. But this will work well to draw it out. I'm just giving that a nice little spritz so it'll. And I know this dappling light is probably going to cause some issues for some people, but that's what we have to work with right now. So if we just block these in really quickly, these don't have to be exact right off the bat. Just kind of blocking in some of the darks with this. And the brush, this brush, nice spring to it. Let me just take some of that. That's too light. Kind of like how this is moving around the paint. Take a little. I'm worried about the chroma in the red and blue not giving me a dark enough brown. And as you can see, it's not very, but maybe we can build it up here. I have an audience at the moment. My youngest or oldest granddaughter is on FaceTime. I like how see how transparent that is? See how transparent that is? And I mean, that's really, see, I like it more like that type of a texture. So let me put that in there. It's staying wet nice and long. It's not drying out on me quickly. That's a good thing. There's a light spot in between there. I shouldn't have started with this large brush. I was just going to draw with it. So let me switch this out. We'll go with the medium brush, which is the 8. And this, I think having this primed ahead of time is helping a great deal. Having this mid value to begin with. And I may have paint left over out of these when I'm done. So what I'll do is I have these little containers that you can get at like the Dollar Tree or Dollar General, but they seal up and you can put this paint in there and it will keep it nice and wet until the next time you use it. So you don't waste paint that way as far as, so you can see it's just with those few brush strokes it's starting to take form. And I do like these brushes. They have I like them. They have a nice feel to them. Especially for the price. I think they were maybe $4 for the set. Which I realize they probably won't last me a long time. But sometimes that's not a tragedy. Especially if you're just getting started in something like this and you don't know if you're going to even like it. So you don't want to invest a lot in supplies. comes the sun again, huh? Right there's a lighter spot. Right there's a lighter spot in that. Yeah, and a lot of times these strokes would already start drying out. But these aren't. So I'm impressed. This yellow is a little weak. It's a little weak for some of this. So I added some red to it to give it a little more oomph, a little more value. Even though it's yellow, it doesn't have a lot of value, but let's see what the white looks like just by itself. Yeah, it's pretty transparent. It's not bad. I figure I got 5 tubes of this, $2 a tube. Yeah, I think I've already got my $10 worth out of it. That's one thing I like about this shape of brush, is you can get edges like right in there. But you can also get those broad strokes. I see that looks a little too orangey right there on camera, so let's add a little, tone that down. That's better. I already like where this is heading. It's nice and loose. Yeah, I added way too much black to that. And I think this is giving me such this was actually a vermilion is what it was called on the label. So the red was. But mixing it with the black is giving me this brown. We're going at about 20 minutes here. That's not bad. That needs softened. I think I do want a darker background than what's here. I think I could get some interesting edges. I think the blue tone in this gray will work really well against the yellow in these onions. Yeah, that's going to make it pop. Let me spray some of this again real quick. This is just water. I think it's actually intended for olive oil. We won't tell anybody. I don't think Gordon Ramsay's going to hunt us down. Here comes that sun again. What I'm looking at is this right in here. This area on the onion. I need to sort of carve that back out of there before I put another color down, because that black is going to overtake that. That did pretty well. And I see here too where I need to make a little, bring that closer without the sunlight. That's where we're at right now. This is too light. Whoops. I have a terrible habit of not keeping a very clean palette, and I know it's something I need to work on. This I don't think I got quite the right shape. So let me add some of this in there. Let me get a clean paper towel. That one's getting a little questionable. This negative space is not correct. Just like you use a paintbrush to lay down the color, you can also use a paintbrush to pick it up. You'll notice I'm not staying in one place. I'm moving around. And that's so that the end painting will look more cohesive. I like how that's going. Let me hold that up. Yeah, there's another problem. It doesn't snap shut very well. I've got these shadows coming down too far. We're going on 30 minutes here, and I could stop at this point and have a nice loose painting, but I think I'm going to go ahead and work a little more with this thinner brush. But the darks are not black. They are sort of a dark brownish. So now what I want to do is just put in some details. I've got the basic shapes, colors, what's there. Now there was no like little bitty brush as far as like a liner brush or anything with this set. But these tips are small enough, are flat enough that I can just use the end of it. What I want to do now is get some of these ridges that are showing up. Some of these in this little thing here. Get some of those in. I'm having to just sort of lay it on the surface. So I could sit and finagle with this all day, and the very lightest highlights I'm going to have to just kind of lay on top there with thicker paint. I'm going to get some of these edges, and that will also give this some depth. So I guess I did want a black background. This food paint challenge that I got the photo from, they put a new photo up every week, and then if you want to paint it, you can, and share in the challenge. It's kind of a neat way to take part in the community, the artist community on Instagram. I don't know that I want this line to be that sharp. So let me go in and soften that. There's so many little whatchamacallits in there. That's another technical term. Would you suggest I quit picking at it?
Yes.
So the paint, I would not recommend you purchase. This is 2 ounces, and it was $2 on Temu. In comparison, you can get the Daler, or Daler and Rowney System 3, and I think this was $4. It was like $3.89 or something like that at Walmart. But it has, about twice as much paint as what these do. These are not the highest quality. It is more of a student grade at best. But these do a better job, in my opinion, than these do. I know the reds in this system 3 are a lot brighter than what this one was. So that's my opinion on the paint. Palette knives, I suggest. I do recommend them. The handles on mine look like this, and they have numbers 1 through 5 on the set. There were a lot of different sets on Temu of palette knives. I would also highly recommend the paintbrushes. They were a great value, and they also performed really well. So that's it. Thank you for being here. If you're still watching, you watched all the way through, please consider subscribing and giving a thumbs up. And I will see you next time. Bye.